Shalawama, Shalawama, everybody. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shalawama, Islam to all of the Moors. Let's go ahead and get started. This is the free astrotheology course. The free astrotheology course, okay? So we are almost finished with this inserted book called The Forgotten Language and the Stars. This is a very, very important book. That's why it's inserted. This gives you the background information that you need to appreciate astrotheology, okay? So let's continue doing it. We have about 3 pages left. Okay, about 3 pages left. Oh no, actually more, because I need to come back and do the subheading number 7. So the subheading number 7 is about 1 page. So we got 4 more pages. That might be 2 or 3 more videos. Well, probably 3 videos. All right. So let's get into it. We are on page 45. Let me make sure. Hold on. Yeah, we're on page 45. And see the screen. Give me 1 second. So y'all like and share the video. Let people know that we're live and that we're about to do this. All right. So this is the subheading, the gospel and the stars. All right. The gospel and the stars. One moment. All right. So let me see if we got sound. All right. Why is this happening? Well, the craziest things happen, y'all. Oh, here it is. No, my cell phone locked up. I usually never have problems with my cell phone. Let's see if this is gonna work. Okay. All right. My cell phone locked up. So we're good. We're good. We're good. So let's get into it. Y'all like and share the video. Do that for me, okay? I want y'all to realize that this is a lot of work. Reading. Most people can't even read past 1 or 2 chapters of a book, let alone read a book out loud and give commentary in terms of explaining it, give additional information to clarify what the text is saying, and then come up, or not come up with, but make the time to actually do the videos, do the presentations, and to do it consistently, especially every day, at least every day, Monday through Friday, 5, 6, 7 days a week. I just want y'all to be aware of that. This takes a lot of effort. I have to go to bed. Well, let me not go there. Let me say this. I get up every morning. I want y'all to appreciate my work. All right. And whatever I say, or if I ask you to support the Book of the Law Project, I want you to appreciate and not complain, because I asked y'all to support. It's only in, at least in North America, it's only in our community of people where they don't support and they get mad if you ask for support. Y'all look at some of the most successful organizations. What I mean by that is effective. Y'all remember Jerry Lewis back in the old days? Jerry Lewis, remember he used to do the marathon? I think it was called I can't remember, but he would raise money for muscular dystrophy. Y'all remember that? And he'd have whichever entertainers were popular on, and they would do that, asking for donations on national TV, using entertainers, entertainment, so on and so forth. And they raised so much money over the lifetime of that event, raising money for that charity to provide whatever they was doing with it. They said it was for muscular dystrophy, but y'all know how that goes. But look at the positive impact that they were able to make in their communities. Look at what these religious organizations do. All right, they put out their own version of the Bible to support their doctrine, their worldview. Their members support it. Even our people who are involved in those churches and organizations, they give without complaint. All right. So when y'all hear me, not just me, but anyone who's doing a similar work that I'm doing, just know, let me speak for myself. They can speak for themselves. What I do comes at a cost and sacrifice for me. All right. All right. So you want to get mad or complain, just don't come back. I get up every day between 4, if I'm late, 5:20, 5:30. I travel, go to a convenient location near where I need to be every morning, starting at 7, in the 7 a.m. And I do a live stream. Usually I come out after, during my break, and I do another live stream. And if I have time, I travel back home. That can take half hour to an hour or more. If I have energy, I do another live stream. If I don't, I go to bed and get back up for the next day so I can go do a live stream before work. All right. So that's just the mechanics of it. That has nothing to do with the education and the cost associated with that to become the man that I am. Cost means not just financial, Anybody who's been through the formal education process, y'all know what those costs are, right? You know what those costs and sacrifices are. So that's the formal education. And then there's the education that I gave myself. That comes at great cost and sacrifice. All right. So when you come in here, if you get upset or angry because I'm asking for support to produce the book of the law in Ancient Ibaryath and modern English with all of the information required for you to be able to do a thorough and complete analysis of that document. Well, first of all, shame on you because you're trifling and ignorant. If you don't see the value in that, even talk about producing a complete book of the law in Ancient Ibaryath with all of the etymological meanings, with all of the parts of speech or the morphology. with an explanation of how all of this is done so that you can translate on your own. And if you don't want to go that far with it for whatever reason, at least you'll be able to understand and do some analysis and be able to understand what's written there and put the natural law principles and concepts back in the book, back in the document rather. Put the natural law, which would be cosmology, astrology, astronomy, whatever you want to call it, the laws that the physical phenomena and the laws that govern them, all right, and the 7 principles or laws, two of which that I always talk about is the law or principle of cause and effect. A second that I always talk about is polarity. If y'all want to know what they are, search the description area of this video. You'll get all 7. All right. You'll get more natural law concepts regarding the Constitution in the description area of the video. Now, there is natural law. Natural law, the essence of it, when you deal in commerce or human relations, is do no harm. You can redenominate that as saying, be honorable in all things and at all costs. Knowing, acknowledging, and acting on the fundamental principle in law that you are your own savior and that wealth comes through inheritance. All right? Now, there's been an attempt to replace that, the natural law, with Admiralty maritime law, Christianity, the law of the sea brought onto the land. And you all, almost all of you listening to this video, have been transported, knowingly or unknowingly, or born into a system that has took you out of your natural jurisdiction and placed you in Admiralty maritime law jurisdiction through Christianity. This is the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. Be aware of the difference. Be mentally aware of the difference. There's natural law, which is law. And your birthrights, which is your natural rights, have been taken from you. And in exchange, if you're in North America, for benefits and privileges. This is Christianity. The governing principle or the foundational principle that's been used to do that to you is, well, there are 2. I give them to you. Unum sanctum, the papal bull called Unum Sanctum, where the Catholic Church, the Pope, declares himself the vicar of Christ and that Christ is God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and that the Pope stands in place or is the representative of Christ on earth, who is here. His purpose is to manage the earth according to Roman law. Y'all go back to Genesis chapter 1 and correlate that with the purpose of the hybrid troglodyte Paleolithic caveman niggers, the Neanderthal, the half man, half monkey, the Han Uman, the colorable man. Its commission, its purpose is to subdue, have dominion, to dominate, have supremacy over everything moving on the earth, which includes autochthonous Genesis chapter 2 Moors. So unum sanctum establishes for the hybrids, unum sanctum establishes an external deity to be the creator of the heavens and the earth, in contradistinction to natural law. There is no external deity. There is no external deity. There is consciousness, or the all. Some people call it the all. City consciousness, Christ consciousness, whatever y'all call it, chi in the East. Infinite and an anthropomorphic external deity. All right, y'all see that? And this deity can say who can have what, when, where, and how. Watches you, supposed to love you, knows everything about you. So external deity, y'all got it? Through the establishment of that concept of an external deity who created the earth, therefore it's his property, and he can have the Pope manage his property for him while he's away. Y'all got that? The Pope says, okay, well, we're going to finesse this even more. The 12 apostles, JC's 12 apostles, that line never ended. That continues with the cardinals, the Catholic cardinals. Y'all see this? And the Pope, each of the popes is the vicar of Christ. So now, according to Catholicism, you have a continuous procession of Christ and apostles on earth from the alleged time of their deaths, managing the earth. Y'all got it? Unum Sanctum gave the church the power to control the military of so-called governments, rather nation states. Y'all got that? Go back and watch the video that I did. I actually do the whole document itself. I'm not going from an article. I teach you from the document itself. Now that they have established an external deity who gave the Pope the right to rule the earth and to use nation states as a military force of its own, that they should work in harmony. So y'all should know that church and state has never been separate. Y'all got that? Go look at Unum Sanctum and you'll know that church and state has never been and is not separate. They're only separate for those who don't know. They say one thing and they do another. So now that has been established. Then they came up with the papal bull doctrine of discovery. Look at my YouTube channel, Zion Law School, and I take you through the original document coming off of the Catholic Church's website. All of the papal bulls that I present are straight on the Catholic Church website. They are not articles or commentaries. It's the original documents that I'm teaching you from. The same way I do in all my other videos, that's the same way I teach those documents. So if you don't like it, don't listen. If you like it, the information is there for you for free. All right? The doctrine of discovery, using the power vested in the church from this made up stuff in Unum Sanctum, where they just make the stuff up, right? Christianity, for y'all, those of y'all who are not aware, well, let me leave that alone. Is the doctrine of discovery. Y'all got that? In other words, they're saying it's God's will. All right? Because the Pope is JC, the Christ figure. And it is God's will for the Pope to use nation states, militaries to come and take your land from you, to denationalize you. That's called lose your heritage. Are y'all hearing Deuteronomy 28 in here? Do y'all hear Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 16? Do you hear that? Go read the original document, watch the video, and then make your correlations with Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 38, the curses, the punishments. Y'all see the connection here? Do y'all see the connection? This is what happened. The Escheat that has been taking place until now. The Attainder that has been taking place until now. The early expiration of our people as early as in the womb, i.e. abortion. Also, chronic illnesses that cause early death. Molecules paraded around, even experimental ones paraded around as medicines. That's either meant to take your mind, make you unfunctional, or just not able to function in society, cause psychological harm. For example, well, y'all know what they are. I don't have to mention. The uptick in a certain mental illness or deficiency of babies, especially autochthonous Genesis chapter 2 babies. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And what about the other mental illnesses? All of these health problems, including cancer, that are diet related. And y'all know what they're doing to the foods and to the soil, to poison you, to genocide you out. Unum sanctum, the doctrine of discovery, to put you in servitude forever. What is that servitude? Now, that servitude is called a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. That servitude is Christianity. You are detached completely from nature, therefore you have no access to your birthright, and your birthrights are natural rights. And you've been brainwashed, put under a spell that comes to you in the form of gospel music, sermons, Christian sermons, Christian ceremonies and rituals, Christian literature, other religious literature, incantations, and secret ceremonies and rituals that the priest, pastor, rabbi, reverend, that they engage in to acquire total domination of you mentally. We went through this in the Devil's Pulpit. I might just go back and read it. In worshipful reverence of the Prince of Darkness, you Christians, unknowingly worshiping he, it, that, or they that you speak against, i.e. the devil, the Prince of Darkness. But yet your leaders are worshiping that Prince of Darkness. Not only that, but you're pagan also in your ignorance. Zoroastrianism, etc., 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 that you have absolutely no idea about. But that you engage in every day. And your Prince of Darkness, right? According to the Devil's Pulpit, that deity comes from Zoroastrianism. But Christianity is a hodgepodge of other ancient religions. That y'all call pagan. All right? That y'all call pagan, but you're actually doing the same stuff. So who's the fool? Who's the hypocrite? Who's getting played? Okay, we're on page 45, y'all. The gospel in the stars. The gospel in the stars. Let's get it. Page 45. Y'all remind me to change the screen. To change the page if I'm talking. I might forget. Give me 1 second, y'all. I need. Okay, that's a minimum you can do. Doesn't cost you anything. I put a lot of work and effort into just being able to be in a place physically to do these live streams. And as I recounted earlier, this is not easy work. I may make it look easy, but you try it. You try it. Sit down with a book, read it out loud, talk about it, show people the connections, the interrelationships between, or talk about the interrelationships that the content has with other things, all right? And you try doing that with natural law, both physical phenomena and the laws that govern consciousness. You try that, all right? See how easy this is, or how difficult it is. Perhaps you cannot do it. Try to do it for a week, 7 days, all right? Try to do it for 7 days. Then you will appreciate the effort, the time, and the skill, and the knowledge that it requires to do this. And I'm giving it to you for free, all right? I only ask y'all to support by buying my books, which benefits you. That educates you, so you can get your mind right, even though you think your mind is already right. But you're deep under the water. You are deep under the water, especially if you're following the New Testament. You are deep under the water. All right, y'all. So y'all respect what I do, appreciate what I do, all right? Do not take me for granted. Hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta adjust the volume. I wanna make sure oh boy. All right. Okay, so let's do it, y'all. Page 45, the gospel and the stars. In the 19th century, the works of J.S. Seiss, this is who the author has been quoting quite often. I'm going to take y'all, actually, we may go through his book this time or next time, but definitely sometime within the next 12 months, we'll go through his famous book. The works of J.S. Seiss enjoyed something of a vogue, that it was popular on both sides of the Atlantic, that means in the Americas and Europe. And his ideas are being represented by a number of modern writers. So he influenced a lot of writers. Okay, he influenced a lot of intellectuals. Seiss's basic thesis is that the zodiacal constellations and their deacons, there's an asterisk, we'll come back to that, and their deacons, the non-zodiacal constellations that surround them, tell the Christian story of salvation. And that capital G-O-D, y'all should know the capital G-O-D, there's a dog star, excuse me. I should have gotten something to drink before I started. So near Sirius, Sirius, there's a dog star. Dog spelled backwards is D-O-G. Zeus, Dios, Zeus, Odin, Woden, etc. These are the deities who are God. All right. So this capital God, you're calling on the dog star, Zeus, Dios, Odin, Woden, and y'all know that Odin, Woden is spelled in modern times God. All right. That's who you are praying to. That's who you have been taught to pray to, unbeknownst to you. Clear? So what could you possibly know if you don't even know that? If you don't know that, doesn't that tell you you got a lot of work to do in terms of your education on these topics? This is why I want to write the book of the law in Ancient Ibaryath in modern English, to remove this type of deception and manipulation to bow down to external deities who you don't know anything about. And you have no idea that you're doing it. But the law of cause and effect is immutable. It does not and will not change, not even for you, not even for an innocent newborn baby. They expire too, even if a mistake has been made, or if somebody falls down with the baby, or rolls over, land with your baby in bed, you roll over, and then you wake up and your baby has expired. Natural laws are immutable. Cause and effect, inescapable. And if not that way, there'd be no way to have what we have right now, right? It would be impossible. Okay, so our responsibility is to learn about natural phenomena and the laws that govern natural phenomena so that we won't make mistakes, errors that would lead to harming ourselves or someone else. And so that we can create things like computers, like cell phones, like different forms of energy, different material. A subheading for deacons reads, the word deacon is used somewhat differently in modern astrology, referring to 10-degree divisions of the zodiacal signs. Okay, so now that's in modern astrology. Now, if y'all got common sense, you have common sense, you should know that whatever our ancestors said, that's what we rock with, that's what we roll with. That's common sense. When you listen to hybrids, foreigners, not just to your land, but to the planet, I'm talking about people, those who are not supposed to be here, hybrids. When you listen to them to find out about you, you'll always go wrong because they don't know. And if they did know, they're not going to tell you, because Genesis chapter 1, their whole mindset is to dominate you, have to conquer you, have supremacy over you. So why would I believe them? Okay. Exodus chapter 20, honor your mothers and your fathers so that it may go well with you in the land that I'm giving you. That's the planet. Whatever your land allotment is. Remember, law is the instructions that are passed to you from one generation to the next by your parents and by the community, i.e., what y'all call in religion the Mosaic covenant. That contract, the heirs, their heirs, us, are parties to that contract. So it applies to us. And we're also the people in the Constitution for the United States of North America. We're also the people. Therefore, we're the beneficiaries of that contract. The Mosaic Law is also a constitution. Y'all got that? Clear? Clear? Make the connections. Y'all go back and read the Constitution. See what its purpose is. See what the purpose of it is. You go correlate it. The knowledge that I am sharing with you is invaluable. If you don't appreciate the knowledge of what I'm sharing with you, get the heck out of here. No one that I know of is sharing this knowledge with our people in the detail and in the manner that I'm doing it. He further, that's Seiss, he further maintains that the interpretation of these signs has been the exclusive preserve of a quote unquote superstitious and idolatrous astrology, and that pagan mythology has picked up but perverted the stories that the constellations were originally intended by capital God to tell. Okay, let's stop right there. The author, well, this guy, Seiss rather, is making the claim that the sun, which is JC the Christ figure, right? And the 12 constellations, which are the 12 apostles, were put in place to tell the story about Christ and his ministry, his life. And that pagan mythology, knowing this, knowing that, hijacked it and told the story of their deity's life, where their deity became the sun and their followers the apostles. Y'all got that? In other words, the pagan deities hijacked the story. Problem number one with that is that these Christ figures, however many they were, 13, 16, 17, these Christ figures lived way, way before Christ, right? They lived a long time, hundreds and thousands, hundreds of years and thousands of years before JC the Christ figure was ever born. So the question is, how would they know? How would they know that the sun and the zodiac was put in place to represent, to tell the story of Christ's life? How his secret that the sun and the 12 zodiac signs are telling the story about Christ? God didn't have the foresight, the intelligence to know that they would then go out and create mythologies over thousands or however many long years, different mythological creatures as they're talking about. For example, like a Zeus. God didn't know that, y'all, that they would do that. God didn't care that that would confuse y'all, that that would make a lot of confusion, even though God is supposed to not be a God of confusion. God just let these 16 or 17 Christ figures appear. Wouldn't that harm y'all, right? So that when the new Christ, when the real Christ figure came, how would you know it's the real Christ figure? All the marbles are at stake. Literally, all the marbles are at stake. Because if you follow the wrong Christ figure, or if you choose not to follow a Christ figure, well, you're going to go burn in hell. But yet, it's so confusing and so much information out here, and you got to work every day. How you going to figure all of this out? But yet, this loving God is telling you that if you don't do it, you're going to burn in hell for eternity. But yet, he didn't make it manageable or easy or even obvious for you to be able to know who this Savior is. Or God didn't know that the angels would spill the beans and tell his secret. Or God didn't even care whether or not they do it or they didn't do it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what happens to you. I'm just asking y'all. Now remember, God is an inserted word. It is not an Ibaryath word. It is inserted. It is the canine star, spelled backwards. Dog. Add an O, G-O-O-D. A good dog or what? God is good. The dog is good or God is good. The dog is supposed to be the hybrid's best friend. Y'all see that? deep. So I hope I'm beating a dead horse right now. Let's continue. He further maintains that the interpretation of these signs, that's the 12 zodiac signs, has been the exclusive preserve of a superstitious and idolatrous astrology, and that pagan mythology has picked up but perverted the stories that the constellations were originally intended by God to tell. Y'all see that? So nobody listened to God. They just said, we know what God, we know that God wants to tell the story of JC, the Christ figure, his life, his ministry, and his ultimate crucifixion. But God's enemies got a hold of the information and they used it and they dirtied up the water, and God never cleaned up the water. Right? Or God just let them do it. Now you're supposed to drink the dirty water. All right. And if you don't get it right, you're going to die and burn in hell. What kind of justice is that? What kind of justice is that? If y'all say that this deity, this God is a just God, is that justice? According to science, the virginal conceptions, so this would be the zodiac sign Virgo, right? The virginal conceptions which abound in mythology, that means the deity, the savior, was born of a virgin. The mother was a virgin. All right. The deity doesn't have a father, he only has a mother. All right. No father. This is Virgo. Okay. Clear? All right, clear, y'all? So now let's see where the author is taking us. According to Seiss, the virginal conceptions, and remember, all of these mythological deities were born of a virgin. That's the zodiac sign Virgo. Which about in mythology. So let's continue, y'all. I wonder why am I? Let's continue with this. I want to get rid of something. Hold on. I want to get rid of something, but I don't know how. Anyway, let's continue. Man, I've been going for an hour already. It doesn't seem like an hour. I got. All right. Okay. However, it is much more likely. Now we're back to the author. The author of this book, Bill Darlison, is giving his opinion now. However, it is much more likely that the stories of heroes and ogres, gods and devils, trials and ordeals, which we find both in both the Bible and pagan mythology, have a common origin in the zodiac. So in other words, this author is saying that Seiss is wrong. Seiss is wrong. It's not capital God never intended for this story to be exclusively for JC, the Christ figure. The author is saying that the zodiac The sun and the zodiac signs are a template simply a template to your needs. All right? You open up the template, you type in the spaces, whatever information you got to make the document specific to your situation, specific to your needs. All right? So the zodiac is a template. And each of these peoples, or let's say religious organizations, they just typed in the name of their deity into the template. Y'all got it? Other information specific to their deity. And then boom, that's it. The next religious organization used the same zodiac template. They typed in the name of their deity and put in whatever was specific to their deity. And then the next religious organization did the same. Hence, all the deities are born on December 25th. All the deities spend about 3 days in the dark place or the grave or in hell, right? All of these things are common because they all use the zodiac as a template, including JC, the Christ figure. This is the author's point here. The zodiac was the ancient picture book, the storybook of the human race. Now, y'all should already know you should make the correction. Use your analytical mind to deal with human race. Race is a political construct, social political construct. Human is the colorable man. Han Uman, the hybrid, half monkey, half man, created creature in Genesis chapter 1, who in law is defined as a monster who cannot inherit land. Race, as Dr. Claude Anderson says, race is a literal race to acquire property. Hence, the doctrine of discovery, hence unum sanctum, the doctrine of discovery, and the doctrine of manifest destiny. They are racing to take all your stuff. And they've used the foundational legal principle, not lawful, legal principle of the doctrine of discovery manifest destiny, in addition to causing you to have chronic diseases. All right. The shapes, that's all of that is in Deuteronomy 28. The shapes perceived there are not the products of arbitrary, quote unquote, dot joining. Okay, so the shapes he's talking about, the shape of each constellation. They didn't do it arbitrarily. The constellations that are included in a zodiac sign and which dot is connected to the other dot is not done by mistake or by guesswork. Okay, there is a technical scientific reason for it. That's what the author is telling us. All right, so these shapes perceived there are not the products of arbitrary, quote unquote, dot joining, but represent universal and archetypal Symbols. Now, y'all should do some study on archetypes. I might do a whole video on that so y'all can see the importance of an archetype. Do y'all know that if you have an archetype of yourself in your head, that your mind and your body will do some type of phenomenal whatever it does and make that archetype your reality? Do y'all know that? All right. So the shapes of the zodiac represent universal and archetypal symbols. Y'all see the power in symbols? Universal symbols, that's one set of symbols. And archetypal symbols, that's two types of symbols of human spiritual awareness. In other words, the way I'm reading this is that these symbols have the power to engage, influence your consciousness. Do y'all see that? And your health, your state of health, your health status. Clear? So y'all should always take note when you see human, come up with in your own mind. All right. Why do they want you to do that? To activate the phenomena of narrative transportation. All right. It is a form. It is a form of putting you, or a technique rather, to put you under a spell and have you do it yourself. All right. Okay. So these symbols, which have over millennia, over thousands of years, issued in both mythological and religious forms. So when you go back into mythology, check for the symbols. You'll find universal and archetypal symbols. Also check in religion or religious art, mythological art, documents, whatever those symbols are, these are the universal and archetypal symbols that you need to become aware of. Their meaning in nature. Forget about the remix meaning. Forget about those for now. Identify those symbols, universal symbols, archetypal symbols, and find out what our ancient ancestors said they meant and represented. You'll find that it's always associated with nature and not devils and demons and gods. That's what you will find. The meaning of the symbol, and sometimes the symbol itself, has been changed or slightly changed in terms of the best example of that would be the swastika. When you go into Asia, you'll see that same symbol that in the West they call the swastika, but it's in reverse direction. In Asia, it means the wheel of life. So they'll make changes to a symbol, but they'll imbue it with negative energy, mentally, psychologically, psychic warfare, psychic attacks, attacks on your consciousness, your perception. Why? because they're empowering, they're using cosmic energy to empower awareness of their world view. They want to transfer you psychologically out of nature into their artificial hybridized world, where you perceive and conceptualize things artificially. In other words, you're believing a lie. In other words, you are out of your mind, meaning that you are detached from nature. Your perceptions are not dealing well with reality. You can correlate that with connotative linguistics. Let's continue. All right. Over millennia, these religious organizations issued both mythological and religious forms of expressions. So there's a footnote. Let's go right to that. Getting's right. I'm on page 46. Oh, let me click the page. So y'all gotta remind me. We're on page 46 now, because I might very well forget. Hold on. Let me do this. I don't know why it doesn't want to click, but my mouse seems to be locked. Every time I try to go through this, I always have problems. Let me increase the. Hold on, y'all. My mouse is locked up. What the heck? Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me try to get this right. All right. I'm gonna increase the size for it. Hopefully y'all can see this better. Okay, let's increase the size. All right. So let's go down here to the footnote. I'm gonna zoom in on the footnote so it's easier for you all to see. Here's a footnote here. Y'all see it? We're at Gettings right here. Oh, hold on. We're at Gettings right here. Y'all see that? Hold on. The shapes of the zodiac, universal symbols. The shapes of the zodiac may be considered universal symbols. I don't know. We have to see where he's going to take this. Let's continue. Giddings writes, it is suggested that the areas of the sky marked out by certain star groups were first experienced as areas of spiritual influence. I have no idea what they mean by spiritual, so I'm going to, for myself, y'all can do what you want. I'm going to call this cosmic energy. Okay? For example, weak forces, if we look at some energies, there are weak forces and strong forces, right? I'm going to look at this from a physics point of view. I don't want to hear nothing about spiritual stuff. Okay? I'm going to look at it as a physics, a type of physical energies that affects consciousness or influences consciousness. Okay? We give no ground to devils, demons, and gods. We give them nothing. No respect, nothing here. It is likely that such calls not all men. All right, so not all men would know about spiritual stuff, right? They wouldn't know the spiritual stuff. Why? Because they need a preacher, a priest, or somebody like that to intercede, or they need the deity's favor, what have you. So I'm going to disagree with this. It's my position that we're all born cosmically connected, and awareness of it. But it has been blocked, or you have been blinded from that part of your intelligence through your indoctrination. Let's continue. But would be available to those initiates, those who are in the inner house, the JC talked about, or the secret societies, who had endured the disciplines and spiritual enlightenments of those teachers in the mystery school. See, I told y'all, who were the mentors of the pre-Christian culture. Y'all got that? In other words, this is secret knowledge. Religion has been used to blind the mind, to make you unaware of your cosmic connection. That is your conscious ability to receive and send communication or influence through your mind power. That has been taken away from you through, y'all got it? By more or less clairvoyant or psychic vision, some men would experience the stellar areas and then choose names and images which would encapsulate the qualities of the stellar influences which they sensed as streaming from those areas. In other words, the deity takes you there. The deity takes you to the location, or took someone or some people to the location where these constellations or zodiac signs are, and showed them their formation. Y'all got that? Showed them the shape. For example, Virgo. They were transported there by the deity. It says clairvoyant vision, right? He was given a vision, or she was given a vision. Okay, like Daniel was given a vision. Clairvoyancy. So they saw that the constellation that's called Virgo is a virgin woman. All right, they were shown it by the deity. For each of the 12 signs, they were shown it. Now this puts you squarely back in religion. Y'all got that? That puts you squarely in the jurisdiction of the Dogon. No. My ancestors used science and engineering to understand, to perceive, conceptualize, and understand the constellations and their formations. I make no room for religion, no room for devils and demons or gods. Everything is intelligence, is nature, natural phenomena, and the laws that govern natural phenomena are inside of us. And when you know who you are, when you know that you are pure consciousness, that you are pure intelligence, pure awareness, and that you are a part of everything else, you are part and parcel of the land, then Mother Universe and Mother Earth communicate with you the same way they communicate with you now. For example, open your eyes and what do you see? That's a communication. That's the activation of your visual system through external stimuli that your brain and your mind processes. All right? All of our senses, our communication apparatus with the external environment. What's the external environment? That's the cosmos and Mama Earth. Mother Universe, Mother Cosmos, and Mother Earth communicating with you. This is no religious devils and demon type of stuff. Get that out of your head. This quote was taken from Gettings, 1987, page 102. It was the professor, what was his name back in the, I think the 40s? What was that professor's name? George Washington Carver. He said he would walk through the forest, and I even think he said he was walking through the forest barefoot. That means in silence, connected to the earth, and the plants would talk to him. Now, were they speaking? He just said they would talk to him. All right, y'all? Y'all hear me? Were they speaking English? He never said that. They probably were not. It was probably, he knew. He probably had a feeling and was able to interpret the feeling. I don't know because I wasn't in his mind. But I know I've had that experience before. I can feel something and my mind processes it and tells me what it is. I'm sure y'all have had it too. All right. So let's see, we gotta let's continue back to the paragraph. Page 46. Page 46, y'all. All right, page 46. Back to the top of the paragraph. Let me scroll up. All right, page 46. So the story of Perseus is not a corruption of the story of Christ's victory over evil. All right, y'all see that? As I supposed. It is just another, or the story of Perseus is just another expression of the universal longing for redemption which lies behind the Christian myth. Y'all got that? So all of these mythological stories that uses the Zodiac as the template, all of them have within it, or all of those stories, let me repeat that. For redemption. All right. In other words, you got a problem and you want somebody else to solve it for you, an external savior. This is what the author is saying, okay? That's part of the template. It's not specific to JC the Christ or any of the so-called mythological Christ figures who came before him. No, that's part of the template. The devil didn't know, and so he how do they say it in religion? And I got this one friend. She's in a Hebrew Israelite camp, and they're either her opinion or their doctrine. I don't know, but let me tell y'all, the devil knew that JC would come, so the devil created or empowered these Christ figures to fool the people at that time and in our day, so that we would look back and say, wait a minute, there were 16, 17 other Christ figures. So JC, the Christ figure, this is just a copy of those other Christ figures. So the devil did that to confuse y'all. Okay? So that y'all would say, wait a minute, there were 17 or 16 other Christ figures. JC is just another, made up one off of those. So now the devil got you. He fooled you. Y'all see that? They're actually, my friend actually believes that. But anyway, let's continue. So the story of Perseus, I already read that. Okay, here we are. The Zodiac inspired the myth of the 12 labors of Hercules, which concerns the souls, S-O-U-L-S, the soul's journey of liberation. So that's the soul, right? Y'all know that the soul, S-O-U-L, is a Catholic made up they took the S-O-U-L, which is which provides heat, warmth, and everything else that's required for life is sustained and maintained by the sun, the disk in the sky. We also have in our physical fleshly body something that produces heat, metabolism, right? Produces heat. For example, go outside and start jogging. Start doing some exercise. Your body will get hot, right? Or don't do anything. Take your temperature. You'll see your body produces heat. All right? So imagine that heat that you're producing results from something similar like a small sun, a small energy pack or battery inside of you. For example, well, I'll save that for another time. So let's say you have a SOL soul or a small SOL souls or SUN in your body that provides heat to sustain you personally. Well, they just threw a U in there and called it a soul and said that survives after death. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, what the Pope tells you to do, what his bishops and cardinals tells you to do, what the priest tells you to do, what your general, captain, or officer, your Hebrew Israelite leader, your pastor, reverend, your imam, whatever these religious leaders are, if you don't do what they tell you to do, if you don't follow their doctrine, you're going to go burn in hell for eternity. Your soul will burn in hell. Or you'll die and never have a chance to be resurrected. You'll experience eternal death, eternal non-existence. So that's enough to scare most people to death and enough to get them to loose their pockets so that they give the organization, in this case, the Catholic Church, up front. Okay, sit in purgatory. You give us a little bit more money, and then you'll be able to go to heaven. Or after you become deceased, your loved ones can give us a little bit more money to ensure that you go to heaven and not burn eternally in hell. Or you give us your inherited land. You give us your inherited land. Y'all got that? And we ain't gonna give it back. You're not getting that inherited land back. Now your heirs are going to be destitute. They have no land. They have nothing. Y'all hear it? And this is where you get the document of the Magna Carta coming into play, etc. All right, because the church stripped Europe, stripped England of its wealth. All right, and of course, then people started getting hip, and the church started to try to hide their money. And this is where you begin to get the fiat banking system. All right, and the rise of the Rothschilds. All right, but every Hebrew Israelite camp leader is the vicar of Christ, Christ's representative on earth. You don't believe me? Try to teach another doctrine. Don't accept their doctrine and see if they don't kick you out. See if they don't ostracize you. All right? Y'all here? Try not doing what they expect and want you to do. See what happens to you. They are the vicar of Christ. In their organization, they are the little fish in the pond. All right? The Zodiac inspired the myth of the 12 labors of Hercules, which concerns the soul's journey of liberation. And this same literary impulse, translated into Jewish religion again, y'all, not the bloodline people, religious categories, has given us Mark's gospel. Y'all got that? This desire for the soul drives death, to be comfortable and have it easy. All right? And the Jewish fables, doctrines, or categories, whatever they mean by categories, that combined has given us Mark's gospel. All right? Now, y'all know that the so-called Jewish religious people, they were expecting a Messiah, as the story goes, who would free the people using military means. All right, who would free them and give them their independence and sovereignty back from Rome through military means. He would be a military conqueror. JC was none of that. But be that as it may, that's what gave rise to the Gospel of Mark. Mark is supposed to be the first gospel. Matthew and Luke Gospels were written off of Mark's gospel, and that's the story, right? That's supposed to be the way it is. It was, rather. The gospel provides us with abundant clues that this is the author's purpose, what we just read. That means the author, he's talking about the author of the Gospel of Mark. And I hope to be able to point these out as we proceed. All right, y'all? Seiss work relies heavily on the theories of Francis Rolleston. So we would need to read Francis Rolleston's works, right? Which were published in 1863. In her book, Mazzaroth. Y'all see how long they have known about this stuff? And here we are, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old and more. And we don't know about the Mazzaroth, the Zodiac in the Bible, until we get into Christian leaders and Hebrew Israelite leaders are innocent. I'm not saying that all are guilty. I'm saying if they have the quality and level of education that they put out in front of the people. If they're reading rabbinical literature, they should know this. How did they miss it? Rolleston investigated the meaning of the various star names, like Sirius, Regal, Tegmine, which have come down to us from antiquity. And Seiss finds that some of these names, when translated into modern languages, now remember y'all, modern languages at that time was 1863, can be related to the gospel story. Y'all got that? So these names are in the gospel stories. Question: does that mean that the gospel stories, or like the author brought to our attention at the beginning, according to Seiss, the zodiacs, the sun and the zodiac system was meant by capital God to exclusively tell the story of JC the Christ figure? Is that why Seiss said that? Because the names of the stars can be found in the gospel stories? Well, let's see, because there's another reason for that, and I'm not going to say it yet. What Seiss was not aware of is that sometimes these names reflect with astonishing accuracy the principal incidents of Mark's Gospels. For example, the feeding of the 5,000 and the feeding of the 4,000 occur in what I have called the Cancer section of the Gospel. Okay, so the author of this book is Bill Darlison. So Bill Darlison has divided Mark's Gospel up into zodiacal sections. The Cancer section has the stories about feeding the 5,000 and feeding the 4,000. All right, that's what he's talking about. In the constellation Cancer is a star called Ma'ala, whose name means assembled thousands. Assembled thousands. He fed 5,000. He fed 4,000. Assembled thousands. And in Ursa Major, one of the deacons of Cancer, Cancer, or find the star Phad, P-H-A-D, which is said to mean numbered. So numbered assembly, or numbered assembly, right? Or number of those assembled. He fed 5,000, he fed 4,000. They were assembled, right? Numbered 5 and 4,000, right? There are a good many correspondences of this type, which we will point out in our analysis of the individual zodiacal sections of Mark. I threw that in there myself, of Mark. It could well be that Mark has chosen to weave the names of the principal stars into his text as an added testimony to its zodiacal structure. And that was the reason that I was going to give y'all. Whoever wrote the book of Mark, they knew these stars' names. And he just wrote it in there so that you could see the astrological connection, or to trick you into believing that the gospel is the only story that's being told by the zodiac. In other words, the zodiac is strictly or exclusively telling the story of JC the Christ figure. Y'all got that? So Mark knew this, or whoever wrote the Gospel of Mark, they knew this information about the stars, and they just wrote it in there. Islam to all the Moors. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I want to say thank you for spending this time with me. All right. I hope y'all learned something. Make sure y'all buy my books. Make sure that if you can afford it, if you're able to afford it, to support my project to write the book of the law into ancient modern English, where I law. Okay, y'all, I'll add back in natural law, and I'll make the book of the law readable, easy to understand, okay? Easy for you all to understand. I'll make it readable. Natural law, everything else in there. Clear? All right, let me, I want to show y'all something before I go. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to pull it up. I want to show y'all something. All right, so y'all, this is my YouTube channel. This is the video that we're watching right now. I don't know why my cursor is not working, but I want to show you something. Let me try to open this up. Doesn't want to open up. Anyway, I need to go, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all check the description area of the video. Support the project to write the book of the law. Tell your friends and family about this project. Tell them about the live streams that I'm doing, the information that I'm teaching. You will not get this from any place else. If you could, you would have. As far as I know, I'm the only taking the audience through entire books, giving you a proper education. I'm not talking about it or talking around it to get you interested enough where you want to go pay for a class. I'm giving you a class right now. The whole book. And y'all be honest with yourself. Do you have the time, energy, and self-discipline? Be honest, y'all. Do you have the time, energy, and self-discipline to read through this book on your own? On your own, be honest. Or are you able to learn because you're coming here and getting the information on Zion Law School YouTube channel? I'm Dr. Yasapa with Zion Law School. Be honest. If you are able to sit down and read this whole book or even just a whole chapter, congratulations to you. But if for whatever reason you are not, or let's say you are able to sit down and read a chapter or 2 chapters, do you have the knowledge that I'm sharing with you that you're not getting in the book? I'm trying to show you my value. You have seen my value, but I want to tell you my value. All right? So that when I ask you to support the Book of the Law Project or to buy my books, I want you to be completely aware of my value and what I'm doing for you, giving you for free, and making available for not just you, but your heirs, your loved ones, and for our entire nation. If they would but know about these live streams, and y'all know it's true. All right. Islam and Shalom. Oh, wait a minute. I got some comments. I didn't see these. Let me take a look at the comments. Think for yourself writes, wait a minute, you believe in heliocentric model. What does that have to do with what we're talking about? Think for yourself writes, yes or no will do. T. Garnett, interesting. Roro Amani, thank you. Think for yourself. I suggest the topic we're dealing with is astrotheology. I'm not concerned about the heliocentric model. You can model the universe or the cosmos any way you want to model it. Doesn't matter to me. Really doesn't matter to me. I rock with our ancient ancestors. That's who I rock with. I roll with our ancient ancestors. All right, so whatever knowledge they preserved, and I can verify that they preserved it, that's what I'm rolling with. All right, I hope I make myself clear and don't challenge me again. All right, don't come at me with a yes or no will do. I don't work for you. Don't come demanding, and this goes for anybody, don't demand anything of me. I've not seen one red penny from you. Think for yourself. Where do you get the nerve to come off and ask me a question the way you have? Never approach me like that again. Ever. You want to communicate with me, you do so respectfully, with dignity. And what I think about any model has nothing to do with the topic at hand, which is astrotheology and the liberation of our people mentally and the return to the Most High by following natural law. Get out of here with this nonsense kindergarten crap. With that, I'm going to say Shalom and Islam, everyone. See y'all on the next live stream, hopefully sometime within the next 12 to 15 hours.